Welcome to Become a Puppet Master, a tutorial series focused on helping you become a Toonboom Puppet Master. I am your host, DeAndre Reed, professional animator and owner of Mocha Productions, so let's jump right in. So on the first episode of this tutorial series, we will be going over the bouncing ball. Because what is a tutorial series without the bouncing ball? It's not a tutorial series. So that's why we're doing the bouncing ball first. And what I'll first do is I'll right click, insert drawing, or you could hit Control R, which is the shortcut. And we need a ground plane, so I'll call this ground. Add and close. And then same thing, Control R. And now we need another layer for the ball. Add and close. So we'll go to this ground layer, we'll click on it, and then I'm going to go to the pencil tool and create a straight line. Oop. Easy enough. Now that's our ground, and now we're going to go to the ball layer and create a ball using the circle tool or the ellipse tool. And that is our ball. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to create additional frames so that we have space to animate. Unlike a lot of traditional bouncing balls, in this tutorial we're actually not going to redraw the ball. We're going to spend most of the time, or pretty much all of the time, using the transform tool here. And that's because once we actually move into animating with the puppets, this will be the transform tool will be the tool that we'll be using to move around the parts of the puppet to animate them. So you want to make sure that you have the transform tool selected. You want to make sure that animate current frame is on, because it can be set to animate onion skin range or animate off. You want to make sure animate current frame is on, so it'll be the little yellow guy running. And you want to make sure your onion skin is on, that way you can see the previous drawings that you've been doing. So before we get started, you can see here that this pivot point is all the way down here when the center of the circle is here. So the pivot point should be in the center of the circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the selection tool. I'm going to select this circle. And then I want to move the pivot point into the center of here. So after I select it, I want to use this pivot button. And I want to put that in the center. Boom. Now it is in the center. Now I'll go back to using the transform tool so that I can actually move the bouncing ball. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set the keyframe so that you know exactly where you're starting from, so that the first keyframe is set. So I can move this down, or you could have right clicked and then press insert keyframe, or hit F6, and this just sets this as the first keyframe. Right now, so I'm gonna go here, and then we're gonna hold the shift button and move it down. Press the period button to move over 2 frames because we're working on 2s. Move down. You want it to be a little farther down than the last one. 2 again. Move farther down. Gravity is taking hold, so as we get farther into these drawings, the ball is falling farther away from its previous drawing each time. Down. And then we are going to hit that stretch. Boom. touch the bottom here, right? And then hit the period twice so that I can move over to the next frame. Boom, squash. Now, a little trick to get it back to being a perfect circle like it was before. You go back to the previous drawing here, press Control Copy to the previous drawing where it was a perfect circle. Press Control V, paste, and now you've created another drawing that is a perfect circle. But we don't want it to be perfect. I want it to go. It's going back up. There we go. Okay, so we want to go back up to about the halfway point. I stretched out the onion skin so I could see farther back. These little handles here this red one will allow you to see the previous drawings, and this green one will allow you to see the future drawings, or the drawings in front of the one that you're currently on. So if I were to go here, if I went like this, move this red one really close, and then move this green one to the last keyframe, now I can see all the keyframes that I made in front of frame 7, right? Okay, so let's go back to where we were and continue. Okay, so Control V because I copied that perfect circle last time, remember? Boom. Now I'm gonna move up a little. Maybe it's still a little stretched, a tiny bit, right? And then over to Control V. Move up some, right? So, boom, you can kind of see what we got so far. So maybe not so far up. Then over to period. Or I guess it could also be you can use the greater than and the less than sign, or it's also the period and the comma key to move back and forth. Okay, and now gravity is starting to take hold again, so the ball's gonna slow down. Boom. Slow down a little more. And then let's see what we got here. Boom. And then you want to slowly start coming back down. Just a little bit. Period. A little bit more. Period. A little more. Period. More. Period. Let's say this is where it stretches. Boom. Control V. Remember that perfect circle we had is still copied, so we'll hit Control V. Now down. Squash. Period. Control V. That perfect circle. Stretch a little bit. Go. So let's see how far up we went last time, and we want to go about halfway there. Okay, so it's not much higher. Okay. So Control V. Up. Period. Control V. Up. Period. Control V. A tiny bit. So yeah, boom, boom. Now you want to come down. Start coming down. Coming down. Down. down, stretch a little bit, Control V, squash a little bit, Control V for that perfect circle, stretch again, not going up very much, boom boom, Control V for the perfect circle, period period, Control V, going up a little bit higher than the previous drawing, Control V, tiny bit, and then you want to come back down, Control V, gravity has taken hold again, period, Control V, back down, period, oh, Control V, period, Control V. It's not falling from very high, so teeny tiny. Yes, we can do that stretch. And then Control V. Squash, teeny tiny squash. Period, period, Control V. Now you're gonna go back up to the perfect circle, and then Control V. It's not bouncing much because it didn't come down from very high. Here, Control V. And then we're gonna fall right back down, Control V. Period, Control V. Oop. Here, period, Control V. Period, and then you're gonna bounce up a little. You can squash it. And then period, bounce up a little. Just a tiny bit. Control V. Then teeny tiny bit. Then you're gonna come back down and settle in place. There we go. Okay. So let's play and see what we have here. I have it on repeat or loop. And then I'll hit play. So this settle at the end should be a little bit faster. So let me do some adjustments. There, that's much better. Bump, 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 bump. Okay, so that's the bouncing ball. Now that we have completed the bouncing ball and we've done it frame by frame, now we're going to create another bouncing ball, and we'll do that using motion tweening. So I'm going to go back, click on this ball layer. Remember, Control R was create new drawing, and we'll call this ball 2. Right. And then we are going to just copy this other ball, Control C, and then we're going to go to the ball 2 layer, Control V, and we have created a second ball. We just gotta move it out of the way. And we have ball number 2. Now we're gonna extend our exposures. Okay. So we have ball number 2 here. We're gonna do the same thing we did before. You want to move this. See, the pivot point again is outside of the circle. So you want to move the pivot point back into the center of the circle as we did before. Boom. Oh, select the circle. Then you hit the pivot point tool. It's going to give you the center of it right there. Center of the circle right there. And boom. Now we have the pivot point in the center of the circle again. So we want to set our keyframe, insert the keyframe. So remember, it's either right click, go to insert keyframe, or you can hit F6. Boom. So in the motion tween animation strategy, I guess you can call it, you want to set your keyframes first, like your actual keys. We went through in a straight ahead style previously with the frame by frame, which is where you draw all the, in traditional is where you would draw every drawing back to back over and over again, rather than doing the keys first and then in betweening it. So in this case, we want to do the keys first and then in between it using the motion keyframe. And what the motion keyframe will do is automatically put all the in-betweens in. So I'm going to start here. Boom. We can literally just follow the last bouncing ball we did. So you want to stretch it here. That's the key. So it fell, stretched, squashed, squashed, then bounce back up. So we can take this, Control copy, give it the bounce. Now go back to our perfect circle, Control copy. Boom. And it became a perfect circle again. This frame, so Control V. Move it down to here. Okay. And then up here. Then it comes back down and squashes again on the ground. So you want to boom, squash. Stretch. Whoop. Stretch, not squash. Stretch and then squash. So I'm gonna find our squash frame that we did previously. Control copy, Control C, and then Control V. This one's going to be a little bigger because it didn't fall from as far. Be a little taller. Boom. Go back up. Same thing. This one's a little wider. Okay, go grab our perfect circle again. Boom, boom. Okay, and this is the peak of the, perfect circle. Control copy the perfect circle. And then go to the peak before it starts falling again. Like this. Then, boom. I'm going to come down, Squash a little. We'll do a little bit of a stretch before, because that's there as well. Tiny stretch. Squash. We're going back up. The peak of the next bounce. It's right here. And it comes down. Tiny bit of a stretch. Right. Then the squash. Tiny bit of a squash. Then goes back to being a perfect circle. The top of the next bounce, the peak of the next bounce is right here. I'm gonna go there. Then there's no stretch because it hasn't fallen from far. Boom. A teeny tiny bit of squash. And it bounces up a little bit. Up. And back down. Okay, so this is what we have as the keys. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create the motion tween. Set motion keyframes. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to it's going to create drawings evenly throughout our entire animation in between all of our keys. So this is how it looks right now. Right? It looks odd. And very computery, right? So the way we're going to fix this is we're going to put it on 2s, and the way you do that is you select all of them, then you press this button here, settings, every number of frames, every 2 frames, okay? And then it's gonna just want to delete these frames that show up as 1s. Those 2 places. Let's see. So that's a little better. So that's how you would use the motion keyframe. Of course, you could go back and clean this up a little bit, but for example purposes, this works. Alright, so thanks for watching this tutorial. I will see you on the next video.